Hey guys, James here again. This is going to be what if Takemichi was raised by Keizo. This one, well, first this is a redo of one of my old series. My first Tokyo Revengers what if. Well, technically my first, but I had another one before that. It was up for like an hour, but I hated it, so I redid it. But then I deleted that one. I never redid it, so then I put up Keizo, and here we are. Now Keizo is the guy that trained Akaza. So yeah, so you guys are going to get told what kind of beast Takemichi's going to be by the time he's an adult, or some gist of it. So yeah, now in this one, basically Takemichi, I think he has parents because like a caregiver. Like I don't know who it is, but it's someone random. We've like seen him once. That's really it. We don't know if it's a parent or just someone that checks up on him once in a while. But that person not exist. Takemichi not a parent. He lives in an orphanage. And then when he lives in an orphanage, well, what does he also do? He is around 6 years old and he lives a pretty boring life. Goes to school, does his homework, does chores, goes to sleep. That's his daily life. Eventually stumbles into a dojo run by a man named Keizo. Now, Keizo would be cleaning up, and Takemichi would see the people training in there. Immediately, he asked Keizo if he could train there, and Keizo would ask if he had any money. Takemichi would say no, and Keizo thinks about refusing him. He does notice that Takemichi's body is decently toned for someone his age. So Takemichi, he'll train Takemichi on a few special conditions. Those conditions being do well in school, 100%, nothing under an A plus, nothing under that. Then always clean up the orphanage because Takemichi cleans the situation, like clean up the orphanage, just clean up as much as you can before you leave. Just come here, go get all these in school, and then help me clean up a little bit around here. That's how I'll train you for free, or not free, but that's how I'll train you. Takemichi agrees with this. Then we go to when he's around 13 years old. When he's around 13. He's already the best in the dojo, and a lot of people actually left because Takemichi, by the time he was 9, was already kicking crap out of adults like it's nothing. And he's met a few select people, being, Draken, Mikey, and Baji. He's met those three a few times. Because they came in hearing that someone there was really strong, and that was Takemichi. So Mikey went to fight him, and when he tried to fight, he is just put out of commission in seconds. Draken tries to fight, and he's put out of commission around the same amount of time. Same with Baji. They keep coming back every few times, and they keep losing. Till eventually it comes down to, just when Takemichi's 13. That leads to, pause real quick. Okay, so this leads to, just Mikey and Draken and Baji and all Tomon, like the main founding members, coming back every once in a while to fight him. He's 13, Shinichio's already dead, and he's already beaten Kazutora a number of times. He's beaten every single founding member of Tomon. And he does like there's nothing. No matter how old Mikey gets, he always ends up losing. Same with everyone else. And, Draken, he's the only one that actually takes the martial arts seriously. He's one of Takemichi's closest friends, alongside Ngishi, Yamamoto, Suzuki, and Akun. Those are the other students that go to the dojo, and Draken's the only one that goes there, besides Mitsuya and Hakai. Those three are like only members of Tomon that go to this dojo. Takemichi gives him some conditions. Don't get anything under an A plus in school. Don't help clean up wherever you live. Give us evidence that we need a statement, and then you can train here. Well, plus you have to clean up here. That's the way he does it. So yeah, Takemichi does skip school a lot, but he has all A's to the point where even if he skips a whole week, his grade will fall down to an A minus at the most. So yeah, that's how good his grades are. So yeah. That's really it. So now Takemichi would proceed to just, I didn't think of it real quick. Pause. Alright, so Takemichi, I guess he's just the top one of the dojo, really. That's really it. But it does lead to him actually being one of the smarter characters in the series. But I'm going to go over his childhood first before I get to him being a teenager. I just want to talk about who's in the dojo by the time he's a teenager. But when he was a kid, he's still friends with Hina. He's still friends with Hina, Kakucho, and Kisaki. Kisaki are a lot closer because they're both geniuses. And it's the point where Takemichi's like, I don't want to clean the orphanage or the dojos. How about this? I attend cram school instead. I attend it full time. And Keizo's like, all right, that works, but you have to get all A's. There, get to be the top student there to train here. Now, really, he doesn't really like Takemichi at first. That's why he does make them have high expectations, but it works. Takemichi's the top one in his school, the top one in his cram school. And this leaves Kisaki in the dust. Kisaki's intelligence can't even begin to rival Takemichi's. So all Takemichi does besides train is study. So, yeah. And with Kakucho, Takemichi did like save him at one point, like saying, "Oh, I'm a hero" or something like that. Same with Hina and Saki. But he did teach Hina a bit of the basics of the Soryu karate that they use, or that Keizo uses. Pretty sure that's the martial art that they use. Soryu karate, or Soryu. But I don't know. But then we'd have, I guess, him teaching that to Hina and teaching it to Hina and what was it? Hina and Kakucho. He just teaches more of it to Kaku because Kaku is like the one he had to physically save. He didn't do good at it, but he saved him. And with that, him and Kakucho are better friends. And they're kind of almost as close as Kakucho was to Izuna in the manga as teenagers. With that, when Kakucho dies, she does meet Izuna. Him and Izuna fight because Izuna's like, "Yeah, but you be my right hand man." But Kakucho's like, "No, I'm my own leader. I made a promise." Basically, that was that he never need anyone to help him, or he never need anyone to help him like how Takemichi did too. That's his promise to Takemichi. That's why he became strong. He didn't want help. But thought that was even more demeaning if he had to be someone's right hand man. So yeah. But that's really it. And pause one more time. Sorry for pausing so much. So, that's really it. Yep, Kakucho fights Izuna, and Izuna does know a bit of Taekwondo and karate like Mikey. But Kakucho's Soryu karate actually beats the living hell out of Izuna to the point where Izuna's begging for mercy. Kakucho isn't too okay himself, but he's a lot better. He's in a lot better shape than Izuna. That makes Izuna and Kakucho rivals, not allies. So yeah. Now I guess we're gonna go to when Takemichi was a teenager. He's a teenager. He lives in middle school. He's the strongest one there. He's not a delinquent, but anyone that tries to challenge his friends, which would be Miso Middle, Miso Middle can handle it themselves with Kiyomasa and everything. Like even Yamagishi and Yamamoto can handle him. So yeah, they all have just really good what was it? Soryu karate. I keep forgetting the name, but yeah, Soryu karate. They're the best of the best. Because they're like the only ones that use it. Because Keizo he's kind of a fool to people because he's not too intelligent, but he's insanely like he has very little brain, but a lot more brawn. But a very kind personality. The point people think he's just a fool that knows martial arts, nothing more. So with him kind of ruining the reputation of Soryu karate, it's not really taught anymore. But only a few select people use it, like Hakai, Draken, Hakai, Draken, Mitsuya, Takemichi, Yamamoto, Yamagishi, Suzuki, and Akun. And Kakucho and Hina. There's like the 10 that use it. And I guess 11 if you count Naoto, because he does use it a bit, because Hina taught it to him. Like 11 total users, because Keizo does dive Takemichi to teenagers from... I do not know what to give him. I don't know what disease to give him, because he wouldn't die in a fight, that's for sure. And tuberculosis or Tachi's ninja AIDS, whatever. He has something like that. One of those things. Right, but Takemichi teenager, Kiyomasa, that whole thing is handled by just 2 members of Miso Middle. And with Kakucho, well, him and Izuna are still rivals. And their gang did not form because they never became allies. They're just kind of people that talk occasionally and then they fight. Izuna still cannot beat Kakucho, because his physicality is just what keeps him ahead. And Takemichi, older in this time, he already mastered Soryu karate before Keizo died. He was already on par with Keizo. So what he did instead was just learn more versions of different forms of karate. And his favorite one besides Soryu would be Kyokushin. But I'm going to find other versions of karate. The forms of karate Takemichi would use would be Shotokan karate, Soryu karate, Kyokushin karate, Wadaryu karate, and Goju-ryu karate. Those are the 5 forms he uses. And it kind of makes him gain a title through delinquents that have fought him as the god of karate. Oh, damn. That was my brother's basketball game. I'm going to check that real quick. My little brother lost his basketball championship thing. But besides that, Takemichi has the title of basically the god of karate. And Mikey has still tried to fight him and has lost horribly. But still his closest allies being, well, Draken before he dies, Baji before he dies, Mitsuya and Hakai before Hakai went to, I guess, juvenile detention and then became leader of Black Dragons. Then Mitsuya, wherever he is in life. Then Mizo Middle. Guess we're going to go to when he's an adult. When he's an adult, he actually has a special roommate by the name of Kakucho. Like I said before, Kakucho and Iza never formed Tenjiku. They were never allies. They were just rivals, not friends, nothing more. Rivals. That is it. Like Sasuke and Naruto in like the Ninja War. Like Sasuke didn't consider Naruto a friend, but like, well, we can do this together if we need to. That's really it. Like, they don't like each other, but they'll cooperate. That's really it. But yeah, eventually they grew apart, and now Kakucho and Takemichi live together, which does lead to Kakucho learning a bit more of karate, including Kyokushin karate. That's really it. So eventually Takemichi is hear about Hina's death, and is very upset by it. And with that, he kind of just researches a bit into Tomon, but can't get far. He's still Googling stuff, as Kakucho already left for work. Takemichi decides to head to work as well. He don't really want him to work there, or no gym, because sort of karate. He eventually kind of works in the same shop, but he's a lot more respected, because he still has the title of God of Karate. Like, the delinquents or gang members came in there, and they were in middle school at least, and recognized Takemichi. They know who the hell the God of Karate is. There's even been a few burglaries, someone broke in, seeing Takemichi, and immediately back down. And then, like, the shopkeeper, like, in days of confusion, or shopkeeper, like, the cashier, like confused, they yell, God of Karate, pointing at Takemichi, and run off. And Takemichi has that title, because the God of Karate, they think he has the power of a god, which in reality, he has the power of a demon. Demon Slayer reference, but, yeah. Now, Takemichi, on his way home, he is been pushed in front of the train tracks, and is almost hit by them. Well, not by the train track, by the train. He's almost hit by it, so he gets transported in the past still. So as he's put in the past, Takemichi would, I guess, he appears around 1 week earlier than he does in canon, because Kakucho. With that, Takemichi, he already Googled enough about Tomon as he could, and then began researching a little bit more with people that he knew. So, it was a little weird for him, but he got as much research as he could. But, yeah. Now, during this time, he decided to look for Kakucho, as Takemichi, like I said before, he's a genius. I guess that genius could get him really good jobs, but he decides to keep life simple, just as a comment. But yeah, so Takemichi began looking for Kakucho, as within a few minutes already able to figure out that he's in the past, so begins looking for Kakucho. As Kakucho told him where he was in the past. Like, oh yeah, I was around here, there, around this time. Eventually, after around a day or two of searching, he's able to find Kakucho. And when he finds him, well, he was talking to him for a bit. And Kakucho asks what Takemichi wants, because they haven't spoken for years. Takemichi explains this whole thing to Kakucho. Kakucho doesn't believe him. Takemichi, well, he doesn't know, he can't tell anyone about this, but Kakucho is his future roommate, and they're really good friends. So what's the thing about this? Kakucho doesn't believe him, but Takemichi just explains everything about Kakucho's deepest, darkest secrets, saying Kakucho revealed those to him when he was an adult. And Kakucho had no other choice but to leave him. So with that, then, it was just kind of weird. Let me grab some real quick. So, Takemichi moves to talk to Kakucho. And Kakucho can't help but believe Takemichi, because he's really his deepest, darkest secrets, and everything about him that he wouldn't tell anyone else. So with that, Kakucho and Takemichi are now allies. Now for another, 2 days, it's been around 4 days in total, Takemichi kind of begins going over everything that he needs to. And it is kind of helpful. Because with that, he talks to Izuna. And Izuna did, challenge Kakucho to a fight, and Kakucho said, sorry, he's hanging out with this master. Izuna would actually meet this master when he sees Takemichi, and asks Kakucho which master is. Kakucho went to Takemichi, saying, Kurokawa Izuna, meet the the god of karate, Takemichi Hanagaki. Takemichi stood up, and Izuna said, this kid is probably younger than me. How is he the god of karate? Takemichi smirked, saying, for the god of karate. Well, not the god, but the demon of karate. Well, I'd say is I don't like the being the god of karate, I like being the demon of karate. So with that, this leads to Izuna rushing at Takemichi, saying, "I'll show you a demon." It rushes at Takemichi. Suddenly, in an instant, he's taken down, and she's to basically almost have his life taken by Takemichi in just a few simple blows. With Kyokushin Karate, Izuna can't seem to hurt Takemichi. When Takemichi uses Kyokushin Karate, Izuna's Taekwondo and Karate can't seem to phase him. And then, with Takemichi's Shotokan, Taekwondo, not Taekwondo, I mean Karate, it's able to just take down Izuna. And Izuna has to admit defeat. Now with this, Takemichi is going over everything with Mikey and everyone else. Now Izuna is also told about the future thing, and Izuna doesn't believe it, but so Takemichi tells him about everything, just about Mikey, how just Izuna's whole backstory. So Kakucho had told that Takemichi as well. Takemichi doesn't really drink in the future, but Kakucho does. So he just tells Takemichi a few things when he's drunk, and that includes Izuna's backstory. So Izuna can't help but believe it, and he doesn't know where Takemichi could have gotten this, because no one else knows it besides him. Let's assume he knows Takemichi in the future, then reveals that Kakucho told him later in the future. But now let's talk about Mikey and Tomon. And from what you get about Tomon, Mikey's been missing for a while, so there's one person in the world that they have to find and defeat, or keep away from Mikey, being Kisaki. And, well, Izuna's he's not really focused on Mikey anymore, just Kakucho. Wait, sorry, my One Piece episode ended. I'm gonna change it real quick. So, Takemichi has two allies, being Izuna and Kakucho. Izuna isn't really too focused on Mikey anymore. He's only focused on growing in strength to the point where he can beat Kakucho finally. He's been close to it, but Kakucho's sheer durability and physical strength, going through the roof, can't help but beat him. Kakucho only succeeds in physical strength and stamina, while Izuna lacks in both. Well, doesn't lack, he's really good in both, but Kakucho just so much, it seems like Izuna is barely even average. So, it's kind of weird. Now, it's the eyes of Izuna and Kakucho. Well, basically has the goal to defeat Kisaki or keep Tomon from the violence. Because he had done enough research to figure out every single incident up to Body's death. He's figured that out. It's not that hard for him to do. He doesn't really do much at work. All he does is unload things, stock shelves, and with his insane speed and precision, he does everything insanely fast. He has half the workday to do everything else, and on his phone, he doesn't have much to do. So, on his phone, he's able to figure out everything he needs, and did it in a few hours. So, everything up to Body's death, he figures out. He just hasn't met anyone involved. So, that's really it. So it gives you a bit of extra time in the past. But now we go to, just their plan. Their plan will actually consist of just trying to find some way to prevent Tomon. And Izuna had actually brought up a plan saying once he beat Kakucho, he would want to fight Kakucho at one point in condition that Kakucho would be his right-hand man. So to have a plan to form their own group or their own gang. Takemichi has this idea, and with this, he tries to think of some way. And with that, their group, he's like, Arthur, how about we form our own gang? We take down one gang, and we absorb it. And it doesn't have to be a big gang, but a small one. A small one or a very, 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 very miscellaneous one. And we need to have people under our command that's insanely loyal to us. Izuna would nod, saying, agreed. From Kakucho, this point is day 5. The weeks are going to end soon. It's a week before Takemichi originally would arrive there. But Takemichi arrived a week early, like I said before. As they think of a name for the gang, Takemichi would decide the name Brahmin. Well, basically, Brahmin can be used as just some like the original gang that Takemichi's in the current arc of Tokyo Revengers. Spoiler, but yeah, and also can be used to reference a cow or a bull. So strong as a bull, strong as an ox, whatever you want to say. That's why Takemichi chose it. Strong as a bull, strong as an ox, but whatever you want to say, or as healthy as a bull. But yeah, so Takemichi, by the way, is insanely ripped, like not like a bodybuilder, but I guess we can say he's from the same body type as Luffy is originally. If you've seen his body at the Udon prison in One Piece, how Luffy looks like he has some muscle on him. That's what Takemichi looks like. Just he looks the same height and everything. He's 5'8". He's height. Let me make sure I get everything correct real quick. So yeah, he's 5'8". And this one doesn't really dye his hair as much, but they're going to form a gang in the next 2 days. First members, Mizo Middle. They're delinquents, but they don't act like it. Anyone challenges them, the fight starts. And they all look how they do originally, like in the future, it's not as adult-ish. So, yeah. And Takemichi would have his friends, and they are now his delinquent group. Now, there's one thing I have to mention, just with... Guys, I may not like it, I don't care. So, Draken, Baji, Mitsuya, and Hakai, they still attend Takemichi's Soryu lessons. He runs the dojo, as a hobby. He's there's, no one owns it except for Keizo, and Keizo left it in his will to Takemichi. It's just a shop that Takemichi owns. So it's not like a part of a strip mall or anything. No, it's just one building. It's not big, but it's a building. So, yeah, that's really it. Takemichi lives upstairs, and, yeah. There's no one else to leave it to, except Takemichi, and he's able to convince the bank to actually let him have it. So, yeah, his friends still, everyone I said originally, still attends his lessons. And, yeah, including Draken, Baji, Mitsuya, Hakai, Mizo Middle, which would actually be Akun, Yamagishi, Yamamoto, and Suzuki. And then we'd have Hina, Naoto, Kakucho. And now we're adding on Izuna. That's around 12 or 13. So yeah, now with this, Takemichi does decide to form the gang, including Mizo Middle. And like I said, they're not really delinquents, but people do challenge them to fights, hearing that they rule Mizo Middle. But when people say, you guys rule this school or this area, well, we want to rule it. And they say, no, we don't rule it, but our boss does, referring to Takemichi. So, yeah, they're like, oh, then we'll fight your boss. No, Akun just be living hell out of them until the point where they're begging for mercy. And it works, but, yeah. Now, Mizo Middle, first part of Brahmin, and then he has to rely on Mitsuya, as him and Mitsuya go to the same school. Now, as he talks to Mitsuya about the outfits, Mitsuya asks why Takemichi just wants to form a gang, why not showing Tomon? And, well, he's so nervous to tell Mitsuya this, but calls a meeting with every single one of his students. Kakucho and Izuna do not attend because they already know what they're training downstairs. Kakucho's teaching Izuna a bit of Soryu, just to get a better rival and just sneakily know a bit of Izuna's moves. Let's tell everyone about his journey to the past and the present. Or from the present to the past. They don't believe it, but he just described everything that he knows about everyone as much as possible. Some he dated Hina to the point where he was 23 when they broke up, but they were still really good friends. And Hina didn't believe it still until he described what they did in bed a few times, and Hina cannot help but believe it was Takemichi could identify a birthmark that she had at a certain place. So yeah. Does everyone believe it? They're like, Arthur. Well, but tell us this, and he explains, well, Tomon, he didn't tell them about Tomon yet, but he told Draken, Baji, Mitsuya, and Hakai about Tomon, saying, Mikey went missing a while ago, and, he went missing a few years from my president. He went missing, I believe, a few years ago, 5? So, I don't know the exact number, when Takemichi's 21, let's say Mikey went missing. Mikey's been off the grid for years, and Tomon is not being ran by him anymore. And he talks about Kisaki, saying he does know who Kisaki is, including Naoto and Hina. They know who he is as well. And with that, he says that they either need to prevent Kisaki from meeting Mikey, or defeat Tomon, one of the two, or keep Tomon at bay from violence. There's 3 options: take down Tomon's allies, is before the fights happen, take down Tomon, or try to interfere with everything Tomon does, which could lead to a war either way you see it. That's really it. If they take down every single ally, then that could lead to just only 2 gangs ruling Japan, being Tomon and Takemichi's gang. And that could lead to war. Or trying to interfere in every fight, Tomon could probably get pissed to Mikey, maybe Mikey's gonna get pissed and probably interfere in the fights. Not interfere, but get mad at the interference in the fights and then fight. There's no way that the fighting will not happen between the 2 gangs. Who that she does have a request for the 4 members of Tomon, be double agents. Draken's a little hesitant against it, but he eventually agrees. He owes Takemichi, because Takemichi's the reason that... Well, if you guys have read Lookism, Jake Kim and Jerry Kwan, I'm pretty sure Jerry actually stated that he's stronger than Jake. That's kind of the relationship with Mikey and Draken. Draken doesn't want to really stronger than Mikey because it doesn't want to hurt his feelings or take away leadership. He makes people think he's weaker than Mikey, but in reality, he'd beat Mikey pretty easily. Same with Baji, Mitsuya, and Hakai. They do it pretty easily. They just want to keep Mikey as the head. They like him as the head. So with that, they can't help but agree. because he's the one kind of keeping their secrets hidden. Well, Hina and Naoto, like, yeah, cool, I'm your girlfriend, and Naoto's like, you're my master, sure. So, that forms Brahmin, and the double agents with the other members of Tomon. They can report back to Takemichi if anything's gonna go weird to Mikey. Now, Takemichi does know the first enemy, being Mobius. Well, this, Takemichi first needs to just make the outfits for everyone, and they put them on, and he made a lot in advance. But now Takemichi, he's gonna change the name of the dojo. He changes it to just like a certain kinds of karate. Like, oh yeah, karate dojo, and like from the type of karate, it's this much money. He gives like the 4 types, and you have to just choose a certain type you want to learn, and that's how he makes money. But now the next 2 days, they're forming members. Every single member of Tenjiku that had joined originally is here now. The Itani brothers, Takemichi had found them first, and they tried to double team him. One of them, like Ron. No. Yeah, wait. Let me make sure I get their names right. But the body is the name. But so, Rindo's the one with the glasses. Ron is the one with like the braids or ponytails or pigtails. Whatever. So yeah. Rindo, short hair and glasses. Ron, long hair, no glasses. But yeah. So, when they try to double, like when Rindo tries to get on Takemichi, it doesn't work. He doesn't budge an inch. Then Ron would go to hit him in the face with a baton, and it's about Takemichi just easily knocks him out with a single blow, and then stomps on Rindo's chest, almost breaking his ribs. But they submit. And he then says, alright then, since you submit, you and your brother are now in my gang. Brahmin. Those in 2 jackets that should be around their size or somewhat fit, and, well, that forms Brahmin, for 2 members. Then, with Tenjiku on Izuna's side. With Izuna, not Tenjiku, with like the members of Brahmin for Izuna. Izuna would defeat Mochi, and Mochi's now down in their gang. And then we're gonna go to the ex-leader of let me figure it out real quick. Okay, so Izuna would be able to get Mochi, Takemichi is able to get Ron and Rindo. Then Kakucho's able to get Madarame, which is the guy that Payon punched out. And then then Coco. With him, I guess he's already part of Black Dragon, so they can't really do a thing with him. But I guess their first goal actually is to stomp out the Black Dragons. He does know it may take actually a big blow to Mikey. So what he does is actually just kind of rush in and defeat Black Dragons. But I'm gonna go over that. So now it's day 6. Black Dragons are formed. Brahmin is formed, and well, everyone that was defeated by a certain someone thinks that this person's their leader. Like that person, like, oh yeah, he must be the head. But then they get to the dojo, and they quickly realize that no, they're not the leaders. They see Takemichi, who's decently tall, pretty muscular, and covered in scars. From fighting with random delinquents, from fighting with Keizo, fighting with his friends, like, not sparring with Keizo and his friends, but yeah, he's fought a few bullies who put out like switchblades or had like really sharp sticks, stuff like that. Like, he gets a few blows from his body that leave scars. He's one guy that looks like a bullet hole, but in reality, Takemichi fall from a tree and a stick that lodged in his back. But yeah, that kind of adds on to his toughness factor. So they know him as leader now. And, well, first, Mochi isn't really too keen on it until he rushed at Takemichi and is quickly just punched out in a single blow. And Ron and Rindo both try to stop him, but he barges through them. And rushes Takemichi, and Takemichi just simply punches him right in the nose, and he's down for the count. But he tells him what they need to do and say Tomon has really our future ahead of them, and it's their goal to defeat it. The question is why he knows this, but he just says, doesn't matter, we can just stop it. Eventually, Draken and some other Tomon arrive, and immediately they're all on guard, but he says, don't worry, they're double agents for me. So yeah. And Baji, because Chifuyu's his right-hand man, does tell Chifuyu about like the whole thing with Tomon, and is kind of worried that Baji believes this, but when he hears how strong Takemichi is, and how loyal he is, he's kind of worried for Tomon, because Takemichi might be telling the truth. He is, but kind of worried that he might not be. But on the next day, he says that they're going to go and invade the territory of the Black Dragons and defeat them, as that's Mikey's brother's gang. And Draken is able to confirm there's nothing important going with Tomon tomorrow, so everyone should be able to attend, because Mikey just says Mikey's probably going to sleep in for late, so they should try to have end by 3 p.m. Try to have it end by then. Takemichi says, sure, I'll try. But now, all day, the new members begin training. Takemichi. So Mochi, he begins learning a bit of Kyokushin karate, and so is Kakucho and Izuna. When to Itami, Takemichi, he knows a bit of other martial arts, just not that much. He barely even knows basics. But what he does teach Rindo would be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then he does put on a few videos of just handheld martial arts or martial arts of weapons for Ran or Ran. I don't care, but I'm gonna say Ran. And yeah, they all can just learn their different martial arts either in person or physically. But yeah, now they all have the basics of their own martial arts down. And now the fight with Black Dragons begins. Takemichi will tell Hakai oh yeah, just tell Hakai about it, and Hakai's probably not gonna believe him, but Hakai believes it. And then when he does actually try to restrain Hakai from going to meet Takemichi, Hakai almost knocks him out in a single blow. But Taiju's and Hakai begin fighting, and Taiju's heavily outmatched, and Yuzuha sees this for the first time. Because Hakai doesn't really get hit by Taiju, he dodges every single hit that Taiju throws, and it's actually the one who protects Yuzuha. And this one, she actually is the one that protects her. When they were kids, it was Yuzuha. But now Kai, when he learned Soryu from Takemichi, he was the one protecting Yuzuha. I would taking the blows for her, but most of the time he grabbed her and dodged every single hit. The point where they were barely even hit, and Taiju doesn't even put up with them. Yeah, so he almost beat up Taiju, but he left with Yuzuha. Yuzuha stays at Takemichi's dojo, and now the fight with Brahmin and Black Dragons begins. So the ones with Tomon wear a mask, the other ones, they kind of go in their normal outfits plus Brahmin jackets. The fight begins. Takemichi versus Taiju. Oh, Takemichi will fight Taiju first, and yes, Tomon doesn't have much numbers, but not Tomon, I mean, Brahmin doesn't have much numbers, but they have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a middle, so 10. Naruto 12. Let me figure this out. I think it's around 13 or 14, maybe 15. Between 13 and 15, that's their numbers. But they're all masters of martial arts. Not masters, but they're all really good with martial arts. Compared to the few, almost hundreds of Black Dragons. Yes, the fight begins. Ends with the Black Dragons versus Brahmin. And Takemichi versus Taiju. He easily drops Taiju with a single kick to the face, and everyone noticed that Taiju just drops that kick. He was bleeding from his mouth pretty heavily. But immediately Kyoko and Inupi rush in to try to beat him. But Izuna just quickly jumps up and kind of mid-air roundhouse kicks Inupi in the face, knocking him out. And then Kakucho just picks up and slams Kyoko on the ground. And Kyoko recognized that as a bit of judo. Kakucho hasn't been with Takemichi for a few years. He picked up a few other things in martial arts. He's obsessed with it. And he's actually pretty decent with judo. That's what he chose. And everyone just basically going to beat down the Black Dragons. Now Hakai had been everyone was able to tell it was Hakai that had known him a bit. And the fighting was just very one-sided. Brahmin was obliterating them left and right. But Takemichi did keep damage to a minimum, property damage at least. The best time everything's handled, Takemichi looks at Taiju, who's just now waking up, saying his Black Dragon is defeated by these 12 people. Takemichi stands for Taiju, saying, Black Dragons now belong to Brahmin. Now Taiju's immediately no the hell we don't, and she keeps trying to fight, but Hakai steps in, playing on his mask, and proceeds to beat down Taiju. Point where Taiju is just kind of almost unconscious, coughing up blood, but he then says that he'll hand over Black Dragons to Brahmin. And Takemichi would now be in assigning roles. And Izuna suggests the Heavenly King system, so I'm going to make sure I get this right. So, I guess the Heavenly Kings. Izuna, Kakucho, Ran, Mochi, Madarame, Taiju, Inupi, and, I guess then I'm going to include Akun. Those are the 8 Heavenly Kings. And 8 of them are the Heavenly Kings because they're the best fighters. The other ones aren't really given Heavenly King status because they're not the strongest or they're either in Tomon. So, yeah. But then Draken, with the rest of the Mizo Middle, actually no, the Seven Heavenly Kings, Akune is excluded. Mizo Middle, they're kind of like the battalion. Not the battalion, but like, they're like the best, they're the best group. As a group, Takemichi would even fear fighting them. That's how strong they are. But he'd win, but it's going to be pretty hard to keep up with them. Yes, they have their own strengths. With intelligence, it goes to Yamagishi. Strategy and intelligence go to Yamagishi. Strength, Akune and Suzuki. Suzuki's physically stronger, but Akune has better technique. Yamagishi's a lot faster. And Suzuki, he's kind of just like their version, since he's not the weakest one, but he's the most expendable, but he's also just decently strong, like Akune. Yeah, so them as like just fighting as a team, it's pretty unbeatable. But yeah, so Inupi and Koko, they're put in as well, and the rest of Black Dragons are absorbed. But Koko is kind of put as like the guy who manages the money, and now, Brahmin has a few hundred members now. Eventually, he's been kind of working on a way to get back to the future, but thinks that he's on thinking shows he's watched, and just find that there may be a physical way for him to get back, or like a person. And he thinks that's Hina, any person that had kind of survived or is related to Hina closely that he knows in a good way. Well, not just in survival. The only person that's close to Hina that he knows personally, like in a good, the only person that's close to Hina, like really close, would be Naoto. With that, tries to find some way for him and Naoto to travel back. We'll try to find some way for him and Naoto to go back to the future. He shakes hands with Naoto when Naoto's about to leave. Like they had fist bumped, hugged, everything they could, and they were not going to kiss. No, they were not. He's in a relationship, but he kind of shakes hands with Naoto when they're leaving, and Takemichi and Naoto will both feel it. And Takemichi immediately kind of looks weird, and so does Naoto, and they all could tell what happened. With this, Draken would find some way to tell his family, or not family, but people he lives with, that he's going to be staying at his friend's house, and tells Takemichi he's going to be hanging out with them for today, or for the afternoon and night. And once they do that, so yeah. Now Takemichi and Naoto in the future. Takemichi is in his house as he's cleared for being okay a while ago, but he kind of in a coma. But it was said, he should wake up soon, but kind of just going to keep him here for a bit. But he woke up a day after he left the hospital, or was brought out of the hospital by Naoto. So as he wakes up, Takemichi is just kind of tired and thirsty and hungry, and Naoto would say that it was kind of crazy. It was him and Naoto talking. They are kind of just deciding what they should do, and they decide to actually meet. They meet with everyone that they did in canon, including Osunai, Akun, who does kill himself still, but he does actually tell Takemichi, solve this case in the past, because anytime you come back, I may just have to do this, because I cannot deal with Kisaki. And what happened to Brahma basically as they got older. Or a lot of the older members got spread thin to the point where Tomon had so many numbers that they were taken down. But Mikey and Takemichi, they were the ones who actually were Takemichi was the one that could fight off most of Tomon. And he did just that, almost killing Mikey. But eventually the cops would arrive, putting Takemichi in juvenile detention, and eventually got out because he was not the aggressor. But he had never was in Brahmin again. Mikey was not put in juvenile detention though. He escaped. Most Tomon was put in, a lot of members of Tomon and Brahma put in juvenile detention, but no one blamed Takemichi or Mikey. They blamed the other gang. So, yeah. But Takemichi, he's got the same job, it's just he doesn't work as much. He's not really trusted because juvenile detention record. So yeah, they meet Osunai, they meet Akun does kill himself, like I said before. They meet everyone that happened originally. This is when Hina's actually alive, because she got a lot more training, which is from Takemichi. She's alive, but in the hospital. But yeah, this all took place over the 2 days that Takemichi would originally spend in the future. So, pause real quick. So yeah, he meets everyone. Hina, he didn't really meet her, but he talked to her unconscious body. She's in a coma like he was, but he woke up. Hina most likely doesn't have a chance of waking up. But him and Naoto shake hands again, and they're put in the past. Now, I'm going to go over one specific thing. You guys remember the whole thing with Pachin? The Mobius incident is very close to not happening. Draken was already notified of what would happen, And Takemichi did dig a lot deeper because he does know there's a lot more than what happened with Mobius. And did find a lot of Mobius-related incidents with Mobius coincidentally R-wording a girl and abusing some guy's parents. Draken would kind of be a little worried because him and Tomon, plus Mini Pachi and his bud, were on thin terms, and his bud happened to have a girlfriend with the same name as a girl who got R-worded. So, kind of spied on them for a bit, and when Mobius was in an attack, Draken took them all down, but wearing a mask and everything. So, yeah, that thing did not happen. But yeah, so Draken did wear his Tomon uniform, but he kind of just put on like a mask, and so no one knew who it was. But I guess when Mobius would attack Tomon. Now this time they're having Tomon meeting, like originally around the time when Emma would be on top of Takemichi. He's in the past for a few days, but at this point, I guess around that time when the Tomon meeting is going on, instead of I guess Emma being on top of Takemichi would be hanging out with Draken and Emma. Because Draken had brought Emma to his dojo because he wanted to tell Emma about everything else. And as you tell Takemichi, you need to tell this many people, but if you want to, I want you to tell her your secret. Takemichi does do so, does realize that this is Mikey's sister. When he tells her, she doesn't believe it until Draken just says, "Trust me, it's true." So her trusting Draken believes it. So now she tells him where Tomon meeting is. Draken's already going to tell him, but they go. And instead of, I guess, the meeting between Mobius and Tomon happening later, in a few days, it happens now. Mobius invades Tomon, but before they can even reach Tomon, every member of Tomon that, like, the trained in Takemichi got a message. But Mizumido got the message first, and now we go to them. Mizumido was already in front of Mobius, in the Akun and Suzuki, and Akun already dropped Osana with a single punch to the face. It was really, really fast and powerful. But then, the rest of Mobius, they started attacking, and Tomon had heard a lot of noises. Now, with this, well, the people, like, I guess the double agents of Tomon had already arrived, but they saw Mizumido take down every single person. Now they're a little bit beat up, but they had left, and Emma was just shocked at how strong this duo was. She asked for, like, the stronger ones in Tomon and Brahmin, like, where she was, like, are they the leaders? Draken explains, no, they're actually one of the weaker members, like, one of the weaker people, but they're insanely strong as a group. So yeah, when Tomon arrives to where they heard all the noise, they see, like, Draken's like, alright then, how about me and Baji not me and Baji, actually, let's say, like, Draken's like, alright, one of us take credit, the rest of us just say, pretend we arrive here. And Baji insists that Draken do it. So Draken does. Draken's kind of sitting on top of Osanai while Ultimon arrives, and there we have it, most of Mobius knocked out, and Draken's sitting on top of Osanai. Now Mikey's amazed, because he doesn't know that he could not do this, but Draken did, and looks not even scratched. Also quick, Draken did it, not even scratched. Well, he didn't do a thing actually, but it doesn't look scratched at all, and they're all impressed. Now, a few people been yelling, is Draken stronger than Mikey? Mikey even isn't considering this himself. He knows he can't do this. But considering it, true. Maybe Draken is stronger than him, but Draken was hiding it. The meeting happens as normal, and Mikey does start talking to Draken about, like, what happened with Mobius. And Draken explains he did do it all by himself, and Mikey would ask, is Draken stronger than him? Draken been thinking with martial arts history, saying, one of the martial arts I do know, and training I got from Takemichi, and honestly, I could take you down myself. And all of Tomon. Now, Mikey's gonna, if you're stronger than me, why don't you take lead of Tomon? That's what you should do. You're the strongest. Draken explains everyone prefers Mikey as leader. I don't think people will like him as leader. So, this leads to Mikey, I guess, being a little, just like, thinking Draken's pitying him, but doesn't really want to, like, fine, I guess, that I'll tell everyone you're stronger. But a little upset with Draken for hiding that he's stronger than him for so long. Because he thinks that Draken has been stronger than him since he started training with Takemichi, which is a few years ago. In reality, Draken is, like, recently catching up to Mikey in strength, and then now surpassing him. But yeah. But now the gang Brahmin has made, like, a prominent name for themselves as taking down the Black Dragons and absorbing them. But Brahmin, well, Isia, by the way, with the money Takemichi gets from training students in different forms of karate and everyone else does, well, they get a decent amount of money. And it's the point where even Mitsuya is able to get, like a lot more, like, high-end fashion designing stuff, or clothing designing stuff, like sewing needles and all that, like sewing machines, and even able to hire other people. So with the Brahmin uniforms, they now have just the Brahmin, the bull skull, just stitched in the jacket or designed into it. But now on the arms, the part where there's no, well, like it says Brahmin, but under like this arm where no one really sees, there's a dragon with a dragon symbol on it. Now they all get those jackets. They're gonna get new jackets every time they defeat a gang, or somewhat to absorb it. Tomon, they already planned to defeat it, and they're already 100 steps ahead. So with that, Tomon, that's kind of like the insignia of Tomon, kind of just put inside of the hood. But yeah. Now, Taiju did really realize that Takemichi would even everyone in Brahmin can beat him, just not Hina or Naoto. That's really it. And then again, they're really strong individually. They're a really strong duo. Everyone in the Tom and Brahmin has really good teamwork. They have to. And Takemichi is already crowned as the 11th generation leader of Black Dragons, but the first generation leader of not Brahmin. I said Tomon, but I said not Brahmin. 11th generation leader of Black Dragons, first generation leader of Brahmin. So, yeah. But now I guess we go to just the parking lot fight between between Tomon and Mobius. Well, with that, Osanai actually got help from Kisaki still, and, well, Hano's already in charge. Hano's put as leader, but Osanai's the right-hand man. And now a little bit more different people from other gangs are now forming, saying Tomon got a little too strong for her own good. Draken took down all Mobius by himself. And a lot of other gangs are miscellaneous, like the ones that were spectating the fight with Tomon and Valhalla. Those have miscellaneous gangs that absorbed into Mobius. And, yeah. But now, when this fight does happen... Also, I forgot to mention one thing, how Baji died. He got stabbed by Kazutora, but it wasn't a deep kill. Not kill, I mean. It wasn't a deep stab. Mikey was still focused on killing Kazutora to the point where Baji killed himself, still. That's how he did it originally. That's how he did it with Takemichi. He did this time to prevent Mikey from killing Kazutora. He doesn't want Mikey to think that Kazutora killed him. He wants to die of his own accord. So, kills himself. But, yeah. But, the parking lot thing. Draken is on a date with Emma. Takemichi's on a date with Hina. Naoto's taking some girl from his class on a date. Everyone is actually together on a date. And the leaders of Brahmin are now announced, just not Hina or Naoto or the masked men. Well, Hina and Naoto are not known as members because they're not the leaders. But the Heavenly Kings, alongside the leader, they're known. But no one knows that Takemichi runs a dojo. He keeps that hidden. But also, if someone does figure out that no one knows, well, if they want to come inside and fight, they can die. So, it works out either way. And just keep the sign on the door saying, if you want to start trouble, I'll kill you. So, yeah, if people actually take that to heart, because he's known as the deciding factor in the Brahmin versus Black Dragon fight. They won't even Taiju to join them. So, they're known as a really strong gang. No one really wants to fight. But yeah, so every single one of the Heavenly Kings, along with every single member of Brahmin, is some form of date to the festival. And eventually, when Mobius tries to fight, Osanai picks it with Draken first and circles them. Well, circles Draken and Emma. Emma learned a brief bit of Soryu from Draken. She already learned it when Draken started learning it, and she met Draken. Draken began teaching her a bit of it. But she already knew a bit of karate. So, those two began kind of beating down beating down Mobius. And it was just very brutal. And by the time the other half of Brahmin arrived, they'd realize, if I say Brahmin, I'm sorry. If I say Brahmin said Mobius, I'm sorry. But the other half of Mobius arrived. Draken wasn't even scratched, but Emma had a few bruises, but Draken was kind of just in an adrenaline rush because some guys had hit Emma. But yeah, you see Emma had pulled out Draken's phone from his pocket, texting everyone that was on date there. But then began texting all Tomon, well, not all Tomon, just Mikey and the leaders of Tomon, saying, come here, come help us. But she kind of forgot the whole thing that Tomon and Brahmin are not supposed to be in the same place, that it will lead to a fight. So with that, every single member of the Heavenly Kings arrived, and all it really took was Mizo Middle dropping everyone left and right. But Hana will actually be wiping the floor with Mizo Middle. Because Kisaki encouraged Hana to pick up some form of martial art, And the martial art he picked up being Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And he was naturally really good at it. But a bad thing for him. Two of the Heavenly Kings, one of them, plus their brother, picked up Jiu-Jitsu as well. So, that brother being Rindo picked up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Rindo picked up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, while Ron learned a different martial art. So, their Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu versus Hanma, they had won. And then the other miscellaneous martial art that, in the paper has martial art on it. So, Rindo knows Rindo knows Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Ron knows Kali. So their combined martial arts plus really good teamwork takes down Hanma in a matter of 2 minutes. By the time Toman arrives, they see Draken leaned up against the wall alongside Emma, just kind of feign them being tired. And by the way, the Legends of Toman, they're not Heavenly Kings, so they were not there, but the other Heavenly Kings were. And when Mikey had saw that they actually helped, Takemichi walked to Mikey, towering over him, saying, "It's the one time I'm willing to do you a favor, but stay out of my way." Mikey grabbed Takemichi, not Mikey, but a few other members of Toman grabbed Takemichi, saying, "Who the hell do you think you are? You can't beat the invincible Mikey." Mikey then told them, "He's beaten me a number of times, leave him alone." Takemichi looks at Mikey, saying, "Damn right, you're pretty weak compared to me." And as she's trying to piss off Mikey, wanting to see where his heel's at, and Draken, everyone else knows this, but they're okay with it, because they can't stop him regardless. So, Mikey chuckles, saying, "You really think you can still beat me, huh? Come at me, then." Takemichi turns around, saying, "Sure, why not?" He rushes at Mikey, but stops halfway through when Mikey would go for a roundhouse kick. When Mikey realized Takemichi stopped, he realized that he has really bad footing the moment he lands. Because he's been thinking of every single thing Takemichi could take advantage of. And he was right, it was his balance, but Takemichi is simply too fast to avoid. But he does kick out Mikey's foot that landed first, then grab him by the head, and put him in a rear naked chokehold. Mikey couldn't escape it, and he eventually passes out. Takemichi gets back up, saying he doesn't want a worthless gang like Toman. It's not his style. Someone began yelling at him, but the Heavenly Kings, and said, if you guys don't want to die, shut up. They do, and we go to Kisaki, who's watching from a nearby rooftop. 4 fucking members of Brahmin, who weren't even Heavenly Kings, dropped most of Toman. Not Toman, I mean, most of Mobius. Most of it. Hanma was the last one left, while Draken proceeded to take down every single member of, every single other half of Mobius. So a total of 5 guys dropped Mobius. 6 if you count the Haitani brothers. Not 6, I mean 7 if you count them, the Haitani brothers. So they dropped 1 guy, but still, it was pretty impressive. Now, he didn't really hear what they said, like, they said to Draken, but they kind of assumed, you're beaten up, just sit down for a bit. That's what they assumed. And when Emma was typing, he just assumed that was her calling Toman and not Brahmin. So, yeah. But now, later that night, their date ends, they go back home. Well, Takemichi goes to Emma's house. Hina's house. And he talks to her parents for a bit, Hina's father. He knows when to leave. He hides from him. But yeah, he doesn't know the name of Hina's boyfriend, as Hina says he won't tell him because he'll get mad at her. Let's do as much digging as possible, but even his wife won't tell him. So, yeah. But Takemichi, him and now shake hands, but outside. After him and Hina talk for a bit, they shake hands. He goes back to the future, and in the future, he still meets Hina like he does originally, and this Hina is not in a coma. In fact, she was not attacked, because due to how strong she was, Toman couldn't get a one-up on her. But now, I guess we go over to, so I guess when Takemichi would go to the bathroom, and Hina would be in the car. Hina's actually able to actually see the car coming. She jumps out of hers, not out of hers, but out of Naozo's. And then the truck hits Naozo's car, and the explosion occurs. This one, Hina is actually kind of injured from the flames and explosion, making her leg pretty badly burnt. And, burnt, and just to add on a little more effect, her other leg is crushed by a car door that flew off. Hina can't really escape, as the flames begin crawling towards her with gasoline and stuff everywhere. Takemichi runs back out. He's too late, as the explosion occurs right as he gets towards Hina. He gets caught in the explosion, and he is pushed away and shot back. Well, shot back, pushed back the shockwaves, and kind of just burned a bit, but not a lot. Yeah. Now with this, he knows what happens. Him and Naso talk. Takemichi didn't know the driver was Akun still. It was like Naso told him. So Takemichi and Naso are both broken by this, wondering why Akun is still, I guess, working under Tomon. And what Naso told him was basically Akun's family went missing a few days ago, most likely because of Tomon. So they may be kind of trolling him because they have his family. Takemichi is immediately pissed off at Tomon, as Kisaki made them stoop this low. So now he has a new goal. He's gonna murder Kisaki if he ever has to fight him. Like, if he can't get to him, no worries. But if him and Kisaki ever come face to face in a fight, he will murder him, like with no remorse. But yeah, pause real quick. So one thing I have to mention: if you guys are wondering about Draken, due to him learning a different variety of martial arts, this one he did not get stabbed because not Kazura. Kiyomasa didn't really have a motive to kill anyone, and he did know that basically Miso Middle was out of his league because they're a whole different gang, and he has no reason to fight with Tomon. So yeah, even if he wanted to kill Miso Middle, he wouldn't have a chance. He knows this. Even if he had a weapon, he had no chance. One of them alone took him down, and a whole group of them dropped Mobius. So he didn't want to know what would happen. But now, Takemichi in the future, back to him. He meets the Death Note Draken, and Takemichi explains he just came back from the future and wants to know a lot about Valhalla, because he's been to learn about them from Hanma still. So Draken explains what Valhalla is, and tells him everything that happened, saying, in this one, Brahmin deformed, well, not deformed, but kind of stopped being Brahmin once Baji had died. This one, Baji does die, but because not just one person had a knife, a multitude of them had a knife. The judges, just spectators that had knives, they all had knives, because they remember, like I said, a lot of miscellaneous gangs that were at the meeting with Valhalla, originally, the ones that those gangs were expecting to fight with Valhalla and Tomon, those kind of gangs, they fused with Mobius, and Mobius became Valhalla, getting more members. So, those guys are spectators, or feigned spectators. Baji wasn't really aware of. He's never really had a full-on fight with Valhalla, just knew a few of them by their face. That's really it. So, those spectators, once Tomon won, Baji would be walking away, and he is shanked to death. Like, he's ganged up on and stabbed to death. Like, one guy named would be Hansen. Hansen grabs Baji, while almost two of them rush and stab Baji over and over to the point where everything is spilling out of his stomach. So, yeah. Even Kazutora didn't want that to happen, because that was just insanely fucked up. But yeah, Takemichi would go back to the past after hearing that, and now that he's in the past, and this one basically Kazutora does reach out to Baji to join Valhalla, and Baji will actually say no. So, Kazutora doesn't want to fight Baji immediately after hearing that, but Baji brings him to the dojo, and Kazutora asks why he's here. And describes the whole situation with Valhalla, Tomon, not with Valhalla, but with Tomon, Brahmin, and everything else. Now, Kazutora doesn't really seem to care until Baji does ask Takemichi to tell him a secret, and Takemichi explains to Kazutora the whole future. And it kind of shocked when Mikey actually beats him to death because Kazutora would kill Baji. Then the future changed when Kazutora would be caught off guard by Kisaki lying to him and killing Baji by having Baji stabbed to death at the point where his guts are spilling out. And Baji didn't know that. He was just told he's going to be shanked to death. He's going to be ganged up on and shanked. So he's like, oh, that's fucked up. And Kazutora didn't really believe it, so Baji says, trust me, it's legit. He knows everything that's going to come soon. You guys remember Kisaki still becomes the 3rd Division captain. But instead of Takemichi punching him, because Takemichi's not a member Tomon, it ends up being Draken that punches him in the face, and does it full force, knocking out a few teeth, and knocking him out. Now, people are a little confused, like, oh, Draken doesn't like him, why should we like him? And Draken feigned it, saying, oh, he was disrespecting Mikey, so I hit him in the face. And Mikey didn't know that was the reason, but he didn't really care. Because Draken, he's told everything. Takemichi has his number, and he does tell Draken every single thing that he knows when he comes back from the past. He does tell Draken he's on death row and everything. Like, Draken knows everything. But yeah. But Takemichi in the future did some digging before he went back to the past. Digging he had done. Let me tell you. He digged up members of Tomon that had the biggest rap sheet, and one of the ones with the more infamous rap sheet being Sanzu. He was on the run for murder, being the murder of Mucho. So, yeah. So in this one, Takemichi basically got the names of Sanzu's siblings, being, I have a paper with their names on it. I'm gonna find it real quick. Different video. Where the fuck is it? I'm gonna go find it real quick. I was sitting on the paper. Alright, so explains the names of the siblings of Sanzu being Senju and Akashi. Finds their names, he's like, okay, cool. And he gets in contact with them. Oh, Kazutora, by the way, he kind of was actually agreed to, he wasn't in Valhalla officially yet. He had a few guys from Valhalla that knew him, and he's kind of in the middle of becoming a member because of Kisaki's time, I guess. But instead of joining Valhalla, he tells Kisaki he's going to join Brahmin. As he says he met with someone from Brahmin, and they wanted to defeat Tomon, so he's going to join them instead because they're stronger, obviously. Kisaki's a little nervous about this because Kazutora was like his I don't know if it's the right word, his magnum opus, I guess. His trick, or up his sleeve, something like that, just his backup plan. Or a surprise for Mikey. But that all went out the window when he had heard that Brahmin is stronger. Pause real quick, sorry. So yeah. Now, with this, I guess Kisaki's just nervous. But Takemichi, when he meets Sanzu, and when he meets Senju and Akashi. Akashi, if you guys don't know, if you guys read the manga, you guys forgot the names. Akashi is the guy with the scar across his face. That's Sanju's older brother. And Senju, you guys know her because she's pretty cool. You guys, Senju is Sanju's little sister. Akashi is Sanju's older brother. But he's with them, and they're a little kind of confused on who he is until he tells everything about Tomon to Senju first. And Senju believes him a little more because they're around the same age, and he seems very trustworthy. Akashi believes it because he does tell him everything about Sanju that he could pick up. And he's like, oh shit, that's pretty insane. So he believes it. And now with this, he starts talking about how they should how they should join Brahmin. But the Heavenly Kings, I need to write that down real quick, actually. So, I'm going to flip to a new page and write down my Heavenly Kings real quick. Okay, so I have members of Brahmin written down, or at least the ones that are importantly named. So, I'm going to go over the ranks. Takemichi, the OP leader. That's 1. So, 1, Takemichi. Draken, spy in Tomon. Baji, spy in Tomon. Mitsuya, spy in Tomon. Hakai, spy in Tomon. Chifuyu, spy in Tomon. Yeah. Kazutora, he's not really given a rank yet, but he's kind of just like a miscellaneous member right now. Aku, Nemigishi, Moto, and Suzuki, they are the quartet, or part of the tank unit. Tank unit, I'll go into that later. Then Hina and Naoto, they're not really given an official rank, but they're fighters. They are mainly Takemichi's assistants, though. There's all the numbers around him. They can beat all the numbers around him, it's just he doesn't get tired halfway through, honestly. He has a lot of stamina, it's just fighting a lot of people will get him somewhat tired. Hina and Naoto are to prevent too many people from fighting him. If Takemichi's circled, Hina and Naoto will rush in from the outside and dropping guys left and right. Then Taiju, Heavenly King, and leader of the tank unit. And Hakai, Mitsuya, and all of them, the Tomon members, they are all in the tank unit if they don't have anything else to do for Tomon. But Taiju's leader of it, as he's one of the bigger members. But, the tank unit is basically the attack unit, or the vanguard unit. If they're going to go for a fight, they basically surround Takemichi and his assistants. They are the tanks, or the guards, everything. So, yeah, Taiju's leader of that. Izuna's the Heavenly King, alongside Kaku. Kaku is also part of the tank unit, but Izuna mainly like he's more or less like a free range fighter. If we're like in the tank unit, you're a free range fighter. You can do whatever the hell you want. Just listen to Takemichi though. And then Ron, he's part of the duo alongside Rindo. Ron is the Heavenly King, or Ran. Then Mochi, he's Heavenly King and second in command of the tank unit. One second, man, he's third. He's like 3 leaders of the tank unit, and that'd be Arashi, Taiju, and Mochi. Mochi's third in command. He's also Heavenly King. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 Heavenly Kings plus 1 Heavenly Queen. So yeah. Yeah. Mochi is part of the tank unit as well. Madarame, a Heavenly King. Then Inupi, he's a Heavenly King as well. Then Coco handles the finances. Yeah, they make a lot of money through Coco. Coco is like, we have a lot of numbers, so how about this? We assign protection in our certain areas. We don't charge that much, but we charge a decent amount. And it's not once a month, it's once every 2 weeks. It's a very small amount, but it should lead up to a lot at the end of the month, or at least at the end of every few months. And that's decent Takemichi. Plus, Takemichi basically runs a business, so, yeah. Then Senju is the Heavenly Queen. And her and Takemichi have a little bit of thing going on, as Hina doesn't know, and she's okay with it, actually. Because Takemichi is actually able to convince Hina to like it, because Takemichi can't help but... He can't really resist Senju, but he still loves Hina, too. Then Akashi, he gathers the numbers. And if he would choose to, he's part of the Heavenly Kings. But he mainly gathers the numbers, as all Brahmin's members that would be there originally are now in Brahmin. Well, this current Brahmin, not new Brahmin. Like, old Brahmin... Well, this is kind of Takemichi's like the yes, quote unquote old Brahmin has all the members of quote unquote new Brahmin. The numbers jump to almost 300 or around between like 3 to 400. That's their numbers. And then Arashi, he's the main leader of the tank unit, as he's the biggest one, or at least the most muscular. Well, he's not the leader, Taiju's leader, but he's second in command. And then, Then Wakasa, he helps gather numbers, but he's also part of the tank unit, as he's the fastest one in it, but also one of the bigger ones. He's one of the bigger, fast guys. So, yeah. And that consists of the numbers in Brahmin, or the ranks. So, yeah. I guess now we get to go on to everything else what happened in the whole Valhalla arc. So the fight with Valhalla would begin. Not Valhalla. When the fight would begin in an hour, Brahmin arrives first and looks at all the gangs. Now, Ron and Rindo Aitani, they are known as the Heavenly Kings, and they arrived first. Now, immediately when Brahmin arrived, he says that everyone here that was hired by Kisaki needs to step up. Now they all thought that they're kids, we can all step out. And Takemichi didn't get the full thing from Draken, because Draken was kind of nervous about wearing Takemichi. But, basically, all the person there's like a small representative of a gang, they brought their whole gang there. So, there's a total of around over 500 guys there. Almost 1,000. Takemichi was not phased. Him alone can handle around 200-300. Easily. So, he begins fighting, and taking a lot of them down himself. And then, the numbers begin going in. The tank unit, they're clearing out everyone, as they fight pretty well. And, if you're one of the bigger guys, Takemichi teaches you Kyokushin Karate. So, yeah. So, as they're doing this, the tank unit wiping out one gang, the Ron and Rindo duo, they're dropping guys left and right as well. With Ren's Kali, he's already insanely physically strong, plus really good at weapons. Or Aikido. He has, instead of Kali, we're gonna give him Aikido, so Aikido. So use Aikido. And then with Rindo, he's already insanely good with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to the point where he can break your bones like it's nothing. So yeah, or make you pass out. But yeah, after around 10 minutes, every single gang there is defeated, as the Draken and the Tomon spies had arrived. Then they dropped other gangs as well. But now Takemichi, before they leave, spray paints a gigantic bull symbol and leaves a small note in the sand under the skull saying Kisaki paid these guys to kill Baji. And then they leave. Immediately Maki arrives. It's around an hour later, And then he sees the bull symbol. He sees the letter in the note in the sand. And his eyes, well, he sees red. Looking at Kisaki, rushes at him and punches him right in the face, full of force. Draken pretends he didn't see the little note, reading it, and he reads it aloud, yelling it. And like they seem knocked out gang members all around, but when he yells aloud, Valhalla had heard it, and they're kind of nervous. But yeah, because everyone ganging up on Kisaki and beating him half to death. By the time they're all done, Kisaki's barely clinging on to life, and Hanma is amazed. Not amazed, but he is shocked. Like, that was the most brutal beating he's seen anyone give. Mikey doesn't want to kill him, but Baji just kind of stomps on his head and knocking him out completely, saying it's not worth it. But he drags Kisaki like behind a few cans of trash, like. But let's say he dumps him in a recycle bin or something. But then the fight continues. The fight begins. Well, Kazutora is not there. Hanma's the one that meets up with everyone, and him and Draken have been fighting. Now, easily, Draken's abusing him. It's not even funny. I mean, when Hanma goes for a punch, Draken grabs his head and just knees it grabs his head and knees him right in the nose over and over until he's unconscious. But then everyone else proceeds to fight with I guess there's someone wipes out Brawlhalla. Oh, Valhalla, easily. I just played Brawlhalla and now it's in my head still. But yeah, Valhalla takes everyone down. Tomon takes down everyone, even in Valhalla. And when they leave, well, the cops finally arrived. They'd heard a lot of fighting. And Baji was not sad because Kazutora was on his side. But yeah. Now, I'm gonna pause real quick. So yeah, the next two or three arcs are completely irrelevant. I guess it's two. Because like dragons, use it Tomon already. Tomon took them down in one fell swoop. 12 of them did it. Not Tomon, I mean Brahmin. And like 12 of them took down all of Black Dragons by themselves. It's pretty easy. And then with Valhalla, Tomon did that themselves, but a little bit. And yeah, there's really no need for two more arcs. Bonten arc, we're gonna go over that. Nothing of note really happens there besides like Takemichi. I mean, he heads back to the past heads back to the future, and depends on saying there. But first, he has his little harem with Senju and Hina. Not a harem, but this little set up dating thing. And his father doesn't want Takemichi to stop dating her, but Takemichi then says he will not stop dating Hina. Then talks to Hina saying he's a gang member. Did you know that? And she says, "Oh yeah, I know. But he's strong and nice." So his father can't do a thing about it. Can't even write Takemichi because there's nothing to note that he did for sure. Nothing for sure of him being caught. So yeah. So yeah. Now a few months just passed in the past. Takemichi doesn't really need to leave, so everything just happens. Then eventually the Bonten arc would begin. I don't know what will happen to the future when Takemichi's not there. Quite literally nothing. The future is completely peaceful. Nothing important would happen. But Takemichi, forming a harem with Senju, towards like the end of the last month of him being there, kind of fucked up things. He didn't know it though. Because a few things would have been messed up because he now has more than one loved person. That's what I can really say now. But yeah, he has the future for the final time before kind of just Tomon would not have reason to stay around anymore besides Brahmin. But one day that they're like, we should try to fight Brahmin, Draken, Baji, and all of them reveal themselves. So Draken, Baji, Mitsuya, Hakai, Chifuyu, they reveal themselves saying, we're spies for Brahmin. Now Mikey immediately wants to fight Draken, but says that everyone in Brahmin is basically someone who was concerned for Mikey, because someone knew of every single one of Kisaki's plans. They were concerned for him, because Kisaki would have a really bad plan for Mikey, and was going to control him. And basically Brahmin was a gang meant for controlling Kisaki. Not controlling, but monitoring him. And with that, they were able to keep Mikey safe and at a distance from him. Now, Mikey didn't believe this one wanted to fight Draken, but the moment he tried, Baji stepped in, and Baji, like, every single one of Brahmin's spies in Tomon can beat Mikey. It's pretty easy for them. Well, actually, no, not Chifuyu, but yeah, everyone else can do it. So with this, like, Baji's like, Mikey, we knew this would hurt you, but we were making sure that Tomon was not harmed by some outsider. And Mikey eventually does believe it, and throws the rest of Tomon. They thank them for being like the outside guardians, and they actually ask him to meet the leader of Brahmin. Well, they actually ask them to meet him formally. And she's called, and a member of Brahmin arrives, as they now should get to see the full scale of numbers in Brahmin. They see the full scale of numbers, they're amazed. Now, Tomon did absorb Valhalla, and they have around 300 guys in total, but Tomon, when they beat all the other gangs, they took them in. When Brahmin took all the other gangs, all the other beat up other gangs, they took them in once the whole thing with Valhalla and Tomon ended. It ended pretty fast, though. But he absorbed all the other gangs. Brahmin is now almost at 1,000, at 700 guys. This amount of people. Tomon did realize that even if they went to war with Valhalla, with Brahmin, they would lose easily. Takemichi explains he can wipe out not all Valhalla, but he can't do that. But every single gang that Tomon has faced so far, he could wipe them all out single-handedly. Tomon didn't believe this until Draken says it's true. I'm stronger than Mikey. All of us are. He went to the spies. He doesn't know. No, Jifuyu isn't, but like all of us are stronger than Mikey by a lot. And Mikey, you guys have confidence that Mikey probably take you all down at once. But Takemichi's taken every single member of the Brahmin down himself at least one time. He's done it. He's went to the spy saying he's dropped us all as a group in less than 5 minutes. He's that strong. They're pretty impressed, but Draken starts talking about all of all of Brahmin's feats, and how successful it is. And the main thing that some of the perverts that would be in Tomon would see is that Takemichi has 2 girls around him, and they assume that's a perk from being in Brahmin. So yeah, it's not, but kind of is with Senju, but yeah, the rest of it is like Hina is not, but yeah. But now Tomon separates. And Takemichi says he's no longer has interest in being part of a gang, but does say if you guys still have interest in being part of a gang, then how about this? Fuse with Brahmin. Then Brahmin can be led as a group for protecting Japan against all crime, kind of like a vigilante group. Tomon agrees with this, making Brahmin's numbers jump to over 1,000. And this leads to the new leader of Brahmin being Draken. No, I'm kidding. He doesn't have interest in being part of the gang life anymore. Not one bit of interest. Leader position is given to Kakucho. He's second in command of Brahmin, regardless. So he's second in command. So he's given the leadership position. Takemichi and Senju kind of settle down. Then Takemichi heads back to the future at the end of the week. By the time he heads back, his dojo expanded a lot. His dojo is around the size of kind of like a business office. Takemichi, as an adult, had learned every single form of karate you could find in Japan, and now she holds the title of the ruler of karate, the god of karate. He's a literal god of it. And he has had a number of fights, going well over 1,000 of practitioners of karate. And he's won every single one of them. His body's covered in scars, bruises, everything. If you can name it, you can name a kind of injury. It's probably on his body from karate, or a very, very bitter person. Takemichi would research Brahmin as the leader. Kakucho was given a number of just things for helping the city, and eventually, when he discovered that Brahmin disbanded, what was one important thing he found? Brahmin disbanded, and a month later, there's an article saying new gang formed, Bone 10, can Brahmin help? Brahmin already separated. A lot of members had left Japan. Not like anyone important, but the large amount of numbers had left Japan to the point where the numbers are dwindling under 300. Brahmin is very thin. So, yeah. But Takemichi would be in his bed on his computer, and realizing there's a few things next to him. Not a few things, but something like a few people next to him. Being Hina and Senju. One of them grabbed Takemichi by his neck, putting him in a chokehold, saying, why the hell did you say good morning? We were waiting for 10 minutes. Takemichi kind of is actually able to break this, saying, God damn it, who the hell are you? And they both realized Takemichi just came back from the future. Not from the future, from the past. And he was like, oh, yeah. And Takemichi then looks, saying who it is, saying, oh god, it's just you two. And he stands up, when suddenly he realizes that he's naked and puts some pants on when he walks in the living room, and is met the sight he never hoped he would ever encounter. Kids. Hina says, Takemichi, we do have some explaining, I guess. Now, one thing. Takemichi has 10 kids in total. 5 from Hina, 5 from Senju. And now Natsuko walk in, seeing Takemichi's stunned face, saying, "Don't tell me he came back to this." Takemichi almost began freaking out, but now Natsuko pushes him into his room, saying, "Since Senju, you babysit, I explain." And then they go over Takemichi's whole thing. Bonten with Brahmin, everything. Naoko was not a cop because he was in Brahmin, which was originally a gang first, so he's not allowed to be a cop. But, well, he basically does whatever the hell he wants. So it's basically just a vigilante in Japan. And it's a pretty strong one at that. No one has ever beaten him in a fight yet. And since Brahmin had, since Brahmin became a vigilante group, no one has ever beaten him in a fight. But he's still one hell of a detective. So yeah. But, Takemichi is still stunned about the whole thing with him having 10 kids. I'll name them all in the comments later, but, yeah. Eventually, Takemichi... Oh, wait, if anyone guys are wondering about, like Akashi joining Bonten, he does not. He's not going to. His sister is married to the old leader of Brahmin. He knows Takemichi would be pissed. And Adachi and Wakasa, they kind of sit by Takemichi's door outside. Like, Takemichi lives in, like, his whole dojo is just one gigantic complex, basically the size of an apartment building. Well, not, but if you guys have seen Orochi's like dojo in Baki, it's around that size, but each floor is different, like a different style of karate being taught. Bottom floor being Soryu karate, taught by Izuna. Second floor, Kyokushin karate, taught by Adachi. Third floor, that'd be Shotokan karate. That'd be taught by Izuna. Into the next floor will be Taekwondo, taught by Draken. Then fifth floor, Takemichi lives there. But the fifth floor is full of tons of rooms. And each room has a bathroom. But each room is soundproof for a good reason. If you guys get the whole 10 kids thing, you know why. But yeah. Now, a few of the kids no, the whole kids didn't happen over like the whole 10 years. No. Takemichi, say he has, so he has 6 kids, and those 6 kids, well, 3 of them from Senju, they are triplets. Other 3, they're triplets as well. The ones from Senju all have white hair, but let me check this right real quick. So Senju's eyes and Takemichi's eyes, they're both blue, but I think Senju's eyes are a little more like a little bit of grayish. So Senju's kids plus Takemichi's kids, those the triplets, the identical ones, all have white hair, half black, half white hair. Then the side that has white hair, they have blue eyes. The other side that has black hair has gray eyes. So yeah, they all have mismatched eyes. Then the other 3 kids happened over a span of just 3 years. The oldest being actually the oldest in the triplets, which is let's say he is 10. No, actually no, not 10. He's 8. So Takemichi saw a kid when he was a teenager. And Hinata, her oldest kid, is also 8. The triplets are not identical; they're just fraternal. And their kids, those ones have mismatched eyes, as well. But no, that's really facial features are different, and yeah. But they have blue eyes on one side, then kind of just a golden, like a rose gold kind of color in their other eye. But yeah, and their hair is kind of just a multitude of colors, like most of it being black, some of it like I think a variation in hair. Wakas's hair is like kind of black, not black, I mean purple and yellow. Then their hair is more like a kind of black and a black and I guess pinkish kind of color in their hair. No, I'm not saying Wakas is the father of Hinata's kids. No, it's still Takemichi. So yeah, but now Takemichi, when you go over Bone 10, him and Hina are still getting married. Well, no, him and Hina and Senju are already married. But yeah, next marriage being Emma and Draken, because Saki kind of went into hiding. Him and Hama both went into hiding because Takemichi would look for them, and they went into hiding, but outside of Japan. Then came back a few years later because they'd be off the radar. So yeah, Emma does not die. So the next wedding, well, Pachin's wedding already happened, and next wedding, Emma and Draken. So when Takemichi and Hina's wedding originally happened, that'd be Draken and Emma. And they actually had their kid. So, yeah, the whole future that Mikey foresaw, it takes place. It's just Mikey isn't a part of it. He's still the leader of Bone Ten. We walk down the stairs, and it has just like a shocked face, a shocked expression the whole time. Like each layer, he sees someone he trained personally. So he goes outside, seeing me in the middle, outside kind of smoking, and they're kind of the bodyguards. But like all the instructors that are his friends run outside thinking, Takemichi, you okay? And now Nato would say, give him some time, he's in shock still. And they realize what happened, like, oh shit, this is not a good thing to come back to, it's gonna be stressful. But yeah, they're not wrong, it's stressful as fuck. So I guess we just go to next 2 months with Takemichi looking for Mikey. That's really it. Nothing important really happens besides the things that happen in canon. Yeah, so when Takemichi looks for Mikey, instead of being kicked out, they actually kindly ask him to leave. Taiju, well, they're the ones who are smiling and angry, by the way. They sell their own business. Still, Tomon all have their own same business. They own the same businesses. Kazutora actually never went to juvenile detention, but instead, he works with Koko and Inupi. Draken still wants to own the bike shop, but Inupi also works there. Koko kind of controls the finances. Like if you didn't have a job and you were in Tomon before, or if you don't have a really original job in canon, you work with Draken or Takemichi, one of the two. So yeah, Draken and Takemichi. Draken owns a very world-renowned dealership, mainly for motorcycles and muscle cars. Takemichi runs a dojo. That's multiple all over the world, but in Japan you get the best experience. So in Draken, you get the best cars, muscle cars. Well, not muscle cars, but it's muscle cars and motorcycles in Japan from Draken. So yeah, Draken and Takemichi are both millionaires. But now I guess the last 3 days, Takemichi does find Mikey, and sadly he finds Sanzu as well. Now Takemichi is Sanzu's brother-in-law, and Sanzu has met Takemichi a few times. A few. But when he sees Sanzu, Kazutora is with him because he's looking for Mikey as well. Sanzu tried to attack Takemichi, but Kazutora just roundhouse kicks him in the face, knocking him out. And they proceed through the building looking for Mikey. They eventually find him, and Kazutora leaves with Sanzu. Sanzu woke up a bit. Like, he woke up like a minute later after getting knocked out, and they're already halfway up the stairs. So he just kind of let them go, telling Mikey they're on their way. So Kazutora and Sanzu leave, and Takemichi and Mikey talk. Takemichi just recognizes the place as an old building he had saw once before. But as Mikey says, alright, he'll leave, just let him get his things. Because Draken's wedding is in a few days. Like, come on, let's go, you can stay at my place, I'll get you a suit and everything. Mikey says, alright, then let him wear the rest of his stuff here. Takemichi is waiting for Mikey, and as he's turned around to grab something that he saw that looked pretty cool, he is shot 3 times. Now immediately, Kazutora heard the gunshots turning around, but is stabbed in the stomach by Sanzu by a samurai sword. But in response, Kazutora grabs Sanzu's head and snaps its neck. Hearing one of the stairs, the samurai sword still in his gut. Well, he doesn't run, he kind of just goes up the stairs not as slowly, as fast as possible while going slowly, because he doesn't want to mess up his stomach a lot more than he's already doing. But he sees Mikey holding a gun, going towards Takemichi. What Kazutora does, reluctantly, pull the sword out, and throw it right through Mikey's stomach. When he impales Mikey, he follows out the window, tells Takemichi grabs him. Kazutora says he's going to call an ambulance, and he does just that. Well, he mentioned Takemichi trying to use the new phones and shit that came out while he was gone. Yes, he knows he's basic technology, but he was gone from the future for a few months. There's a few new things that came out. So yeah, I just want to point that out real quick. But as he's holding on for Mikey for dear life, if the cops had already came, but ambulance arrived as well, and this leads to the cops treating the ambulance treats Kazutora. And Takemichi's trying to pull Mikey back inside. As gets a few gunshots, I'm not going to stop him. You can shoot him 100 times. He's probably going to be dead, but he's still going to have still die standing like a tiger. He is basically a tiger in a human body. He's trying to pull Mikey up. He's just more blood's coming out to the point where Mikey does slip from his hands, not from his arm. Well, his arm slips from his hands, and he grabs Mikey's hand. Takemichi says, "Mikey, let me help you. I tried once before, and it failed. I can see that now. Let me try one more time." Mikey begs for help, saying he'll do it. Well, he'll let Takemichi help him, when Takemichi is suddenly sent back to the past. The past He wakes up in his dojo still, but he's 16 at this point. But he sees a certain sight he never wanted to see when he just wakes up. A certain white-haired girl doing a certain motion on his area. He immediately yelped, saying get off, and he ran into his bathroom. And Hina and Senju, they're both kind of blushing red, but they recognize what happened, saying, oh shit, he's scared. So you have Draken that heard the yell outside because he's fixing Takemichi's car, and walked inside. He to Senju, and Hina already had clothes on, and Takemichi's just kind of just freaking out. Explain what happened, and Draken's like, oh shit. So he's kind of nervous. Tells everyone that there's no Takemichi secret, and they arrive, and he's talking to them, telling them what happened. And they're kind of shocked. Now, at this point, Bonten is not formed, but it's in the middle of being formed, because Brahmin did disband. I forgot how long I said it disbanded, but the first year of Takemichi not leading Brahmin, they eradicated a lot of crime in mainly the city area of Japan. They eradicated most of the crime there. At best, it's like one mugging a month. That's really it. Crime is down by a lot. So yeah. But so Takemichi would tell everyone what happened. They're kind of shocked. And I guess eventually we're going to go to the three deities. Their gangs are forming in the shadows. I tend to say that since they somewhat connected to to Brahmin, and some ex-members, they have some knowledge of what's going on with the three deities. Well, Mikey and South. Those are two deities. But Takemichi is still counted as a third, as he's still alive and breathing, and was the ex-leader of Brahmin. So they don't want to know what he could do if he does get back in the picture with gangs. But I'm going to end this part here. If you guys enjoyed, like and subscribe for another part. Bye.